All right, thank you one more time here. Still the program this morning on ITV. We are still looking at the courts in Nigeria and the electoral process in the country. We talked about former President Goodluck Jonathan's position at a recent event in Abuja put together by Osasu Igbinedion. It was actually a program meant for the Youth Foundation program so as to galvanize the youth in leadership in the country. And former President Goodluck Jonathan talked about the need for us to revamp our electoral process. And also, he also talked about the need for more women to be included in our electoral process in the country. But we are looking at the electoral process, most especially as it relates to courts deciding who becomes the winner of an election. We've had one or two points to point to now. We had one in Edo State during Adams Oshomole and former Governor Osarime Osumbo, whereby the court ruled in favor of former Governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole. Then also, we also have one of the most recent now in the country, talking about the Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, that came from what some people describe as the third position to become the winner of that election. We have Bishop Akalama here, still on the same topic. Bishop, you're welcome to this program.
Good morning.
It's been quite some time on the show, and it's been quite some time. Well, Bishop Akalama was the candidate for Labour Zenith Party the last governorship election in Edo State. Bishop, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, we're looking at the position of former President Goodluck Jonathan at that event. He said something that the whole nation is reacting to. But do you think former President Goodluck Jonathan said anything outside the situation in the country?
Well, thank you. I actually listened to that program. I listened to the former president speaking on the electing our leaders in the polling unit rather than in court.
Okay.
When you look at it very well, when I listened to him very well, after the program, I sat down, then I thought about it critically. I look at it, I assess it, what you have said so far. But I said to myself that is where we are in a more civilized countries who are not desperate, who are not corrupt. Then we can talk in that dimension. We can talk in that line that the Mr. President has told. Now, if you look at what is happening in Nigeria, you discover that the Constitution has made it clear that as a federation, that periodically there's need for us to go to the field and elect our leaders for all the 33 states we have and the federal, with a majority votes cast. But if you look around what has happened today in Nigeria, you discover that a lot of electoral fraud has taken place in our previous election, which has made those who felt that they have been cheated to have approached the court. Fine. A situation whereby you feel that you actually monitor an election, the vote cast to a particular candidate, you saw them, you look at them. Now, at the end of the day, the result that will eventually emanate from that unit speak differently. It gives room for people to go to court. I look at it very well that you may not actually say that the court should not do what they are doing. If you look at it very well, it's a way of preventing economic leakage. Because Nigeria would not have the money, the resources to always spend on an election. Now, elections have taken place. Don't you think at times the court may even decide to say, oh, let's cancel this election, let's go to the field again and start all over again. You discover that the government have to come out with another budget again to organize such election that has taken place before, just because we noticed some electoral fraud. 2 days ago, a friend of mine called me, was chatting me from abroad. He said, why is it that Nigeria, we only do our election just one day? I said, that is the best we can do. Because if you say here, no public holiday, all you just need to do is that you go to your work. Even when you are coming back at 6 p.m., you still go to where you can vote. You vote, you go home. You think continue 5 days, 6 days. I said, no, that cannot happen in Nigeria. Why? Because there are a lot of factors that will play out. We have desperados. We have corruption. We have using economic benefits that we accrue to leaders. If you look at all these factors, these are the factors that make so many of our leaders to be desperate. That if you give them so many days for us to vote, some people will influence the election.
Okay, now Bishop, let's look at it one more time. Now, for some people, they will say that the electorates, have a role to play.
Yeah.
You just said that for the electorate, it's most disheartening that for a candidate they voted for, only for them to be told that, look, that candidate did not win that election.
Yeah.
Now, we are dealing in a situation whereby it is the political parties that sends candidates for election.
Yeah.
And of course, it is the INEC that clears that candidate. Now, we've just been told that INEC takes the certificate that candidates of that political parties bring of the candidate, and it stops there. Now, for some people, they see that the electorate should go further to see that candidates really possess the qualification that they claim to have, so that at the end of the day, cases will not go to court.
Yes, in the last election, INEC did that. It is not the duty of INEC to go and check or to go to the various higher institutions that prospective candidates attended to verify the authenticity of such results. Because the INEC does not deal with individuals. INEC does not deal with candidates. INEC deals with political parties. It is the duty and responsibilities of political parties to look at those credentials presented to them by their aspirants. That is why before the primary election they have screening.
Yeah, I'm talking about the role of the electorate here.
Yes, the role, that's what I'm coming.
Because the worst hit in this situation is the electorate. The electorate that votes for candidates. At the end of the day, these candidates, they are not announced as the winners.
No. What I'm saying, you talk about credentials just now. We talk about credentials now. You talk about credentials.
Yeah, certainly.
What I'm saying is that the INEC, with the last election, the INEC has to go extra mile to publish the credentials of those candidates that contested the last election. That the electorates have to go and look at those credentials, verify them, find out if actually those candidates they want to vote for have those credentials. If those credentials were falsified, so that after the elections, no candidate will say, oh, this Mr. A, Mr. B does not possess such credentials and go to court that would drag us back. The electorate I have said before, you have said, they have vital role to play in all of this. They have the right, that is, if they have access to the credentials of the candidates presented by those political parties. That's why you see INEC is doing their job. Try to publish the credentials of candidates so that the electorate can assess them. They can look at them, verify them, look at the authenticities of those credentials to say, oh, we can vote for this. Then, when they now get to the field, debates have taken place, campaigns have taken place. The candidates have marketed their policies, their plans to you. You have equally seen their credentials. It's not incumbent on you as an electorate to go to the field and vote for electorate. The most discerning aspect of it is that this electorate will not vet these credentials, verify these credentials, look at them, snap them, even put them on social media for people to see. If you say you go to University of Benin and you say you graduated 2002, and there's a way we can do that. The records are there. We have even the VCs of higher institution, who is an electorate too, has a role to play in this. If I publish my credentials, if I give my credentials to INEC, and INEC publish my credentials on the board, I said, I am a product of the University of Benin, that I studied accounting in 2001.
Everybody should verify it.
Then the VC too is also a part of that. The HOD of accounting at that year, 2001, has a role to play in it. Because we need a better society. All of us have to work. Let's look at it. Mr. A said he has a degree in accounting, 2001. You, as the HOD, as that time, you know you were the HOD. You know your student. Okay? The VC there, you can quickly say, oh, I'm part of this country. We have to rebuild this country. What do? You go to the records. Is Mr. A, Bishop Akalame, was he a student of the University of Benin in accounting? You do that. If you find a name is not there, you should be number one person that will write to INEC. That man is not a student. He was not a student of University of Benin. Okay. So, the result presented, we are fake.
Okay.
That's
now,
one.
Now, you want to add something?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Then by the time you do that, we go to the field, I have always canvassed that you do not go to field and vote for candidate out of sentiment. It doesn't work. That is where we are still where we are today. You vote for candidate because of their potentials, what they have to bring to the table. Because every good leader must be a good businessman. Because what are you coming to manage as a leader? You are coming to manage the meager resources of a state, the meager resources of the country, the meager resources of a local government as a chairman. So if you do not have these potentials, if you do not have what it takes to drive the economy of the state, the local government, or the federal, you have no business becoming a leader. Okay. So electorate have to be very wise.
Now, beautiful. Now, if you watch that video and you listen to what the former president said, now he actually suggested that instead for the judiciary to give the winning of the election to somebody that probably did not expect to win the election, that there should be a rerun. Now, for some people, rerun is not the best form of, of addressing an election fraud, election situation, where you have the laws of the lands are there. What are your take?
Yes, my take is this. Like I told you when I started, it is very wrong to determine who won an election in the court. Very, very wrong. Because automatically, well, it has two ways. We need to look at the advantages of the other side, and also look at the advantages of the other side. That's why I'm talking from both sides now. I'm talking from both sides of my mouth. Why did I say so? If you look at it very well, some people will go to the fields, vote for the candidate of their choice. The votes are there. But because of manipulation, the candidate will not emerge. And he knew that he won the election. Then you have to approach the court. In 2016, I happened to be in the court, in the tribunal, where some results were called upon. Okay? Where some results were called upon from different units in that governorship election. The court actually requested time to recount those votes. You get what? Those areas that the candidate was challenging in 2016 election, the court actually requested that the results should be presented to the court for recounting. The court recounted. If eventually the court recounted, and where the INEC recorded 5,000 and the court saw 6,000 with evidence, the court has no choice than to go ahead and declare the person who actually got the vote. Because on the part of the INEC, there is an error in computing, calculating those votes as 5,000. Now, there is a candidate who remained fair that he had been cheated. He approached the court. Now the court now took our time out to see how they can recount those votes, to actually see that if they match with the figure that INEC actually declared. So by virtue of this counting, that's why instead of 5,000, that the vote has actually emanated from those units were 6,000. What do you think the INEC will do? The INEC will go ahead and declare the supposed winner of the election, which was not declared by INEC. These are some of the issues that we are talking about. Where I still have issues again is this: a situation whereby somebody like what happened in Imo State, somebody that took fourth in the election became the winner of an election. Automatically, if you look at it very well, the people went to the polling unit. Of course, they did not vote for him.
They voted for They
did not vote for him, so they did not need him as a leader. So the corner said, "Oh, this is now your leader." I believe that is what Mr. President is talking about.
Okay. All right. So as we just still go on the program now. Now let's look at one more thing. We'll just quickly take a short pause. We'll have Thaddeus, architect Thaddeus, with us here so that he can join. Please, let's quickly take a short break as we go on. Please stay tuned. All right, here the program still this morning on ITV. We're still looking at electoral process in the country, looking at the way judiciary, has been giving out results after election, and for some people it's very, very worrisome. Most especially for people that are aspiring to become to emerge as a winner of one electoral process or the other. We have architect Thaddeus Irabo, who was the former PDP youth leader in Edo State, also joined us on the program today. He's still He is a politician and, of course, a public affairs analyst in Edo State. You're welcome to this program tomorrow on RXAV. Now, let me just come to you. We are looking at the electoral process in the country, looking at how the judiciary interprets the law and makes people that ordinarily would not have won an election, they now become the winner of the election. For some guests that we've had here before you people came, they've advocated that the judiciary is doing their job. I mean, the laws are there, so it is not as if maybe they just decide who becomes the winner and all that. So what they are saying is that the politicians should not give room for the judiciary to, say that, okay, because you fell short of this, expectation and all that, you now become the winner of the election. I don't know what your takes are on it.
I think first, I don't think it's a politician that gives room. It's our electoral process that actually gives room for that. Why did I say so? If peradventure I'm running for an office and somebody else goes to court that, okay, the process, and they are challenging the process. Right now it's about having the federal government. The judiciary are no longer independent. So they will look for a way, like the case of Ekiti. You see that somebody that came out first became the governor. There is no legal justification for that at all. So that's where, first, we need to amend our laws. Secondly, if you find anybody wanting, annul the election, arrange a fresh election. You know why people are running for fresh election. Just go and check. The total number of mobile users in Nigeria is over 85 million people. Smartphone user are about 35,000 people. Presidency, there is no way we have ever recorded up to 35,000 votes in a presidential election. So it's easy. Why don't we just amend the electoral law? You don't need to queue. You don't need to go to the field to vote anymore. Look at America. You can sit in the comfort of your house and cast your vote. It's just an app. If you have the app and you can only vote once, you do that. And you see that the money you spend in organizing the election would have been reduced. Thank God. Would I use the word thank God? But as fate will have it, Nigeria is becoming broke. We won't have those bogus amount to spend on election anymore. So what we need to do is to look at technology. With technology, all these things will be taken care of. If peradventure the person that won the election is found wanting, you just arrange another election so that people can actually choose who governs them, not the judiciary not choosing for the people. Okay. That is why you see somebody like Yaya Bello. He never contested the election. Other people did the election, did the election won, and they brought Yaya Bello from nowhere to become governor. So how do you interpret that when you know this guy's name was never in the ballot? Today he's a governor of Kogi. Okay. How do you hold him accountable when you didn't vote for me?
Yeah, beautiful. Now,
so I'll do whatsoever I choose to do. That's the issue.
Well, I know that you are saying that you are supporting what former President Goodluck Jonathan said, that it should be a rerun. Absolutely. Now, for some people, the issue is whether we have time. I mean, for a process that is timed, we have an election period is timed that within 4 years we're supposed to have another election and all that. So do you think we have enough time to now say, okay, let's go for a rerun?
Yes, that's where we even need. Must it be 3 months to hand over time? It mustn't be. And if you have, okay, let's look at the issue of Donald Trump. While he was in office, a lot of legal cases went. But before he left office, all those legal issues, they were resolved. So why do we need to go and look for unit results, look for ballot paper per unit, all those loads? Before you pass through all those rigorous time would have gone. But if these things were electronically done, it will be easy for you to just see where the fault is coming from, and the issues will be resolved. So all we are saying is that let all this whole thing be technologically driven. If it's technologically driven, all these whole issues would have been taken care of.
All right, Bishop Akalame, can Nigeria as a nation, can we afford to do our elections, technologically, electronically? Because that's what Architect Thaddeus seems to be suggesting here, so that electoral cases, won't be going to court.
Let me quickly say this. I was in Ekboma some time ago during the ISUG election. When I got to the school, the place was dry and there was election. I approached one of the lecturers who told me that, well, there is an app the school designed that the students have to vote in the comfort of their homes, that you don't need to come. That the reason why they have to do that, they discovered that during the election, that we have a lot of crisis within the campus. The student fights, a lot of issues come up. At times, that may even vitiate the semester or the session. So they have to come up with this app so that students can, even when in Lagos, during the election, students were not even on campus. They have to ask them to go home. Vote in the comfort of your home.
But can that be all-inclusive?
That's what I'm saying. If that can happen in Ekpoma, any higher institution, what will it take in Nigeria? A Nigeria that has the resources to do this. It's doable. The problem we're having in the country, like I told you before, is revolve around about 3 factors. What are they? 1, corruption. 2, desperation. A lot of people who have nothing to offer this country want to become leaders. And they know they don't have the capacity to deliver to the people. And they also know that the people know that they don't have the capacity. That the only thing they have is the illegal money they got somewhere from the country. We during election, they bring out and share to get votes. What they have to do is to ensure that those things that will work against them never come into existence. I tell you that if we go technologically to vote in this country, people like us become leaders. Yes, because the people in the electorate, you think they don't know what they're doing? They know what they're doing. They know who is who. They know who have the mental capacity to drive our economy. But they become incapacitated during election. When early in the morning before election, somebody will come and knock at their door. Come out, take 5,000 and vote for me. Because of poverty, they remain handicapped. They will collect it, and somebody will monitor them and they vote. So, by the time they now have the privilege to vote in their homes, they don't need to go to field where they will be monitored. They'll hold your smartphone, your smartphone and vote. You vote for your leader. But again, it will not work. We have some limitations. Okay. Now, what are the limitations? Those in the villages, as we talk right now, they don't even know what is social media. Yeah, that's why I said. That's why I said. Yeah, that's why I said a while ago that if we suggest, that elections, architect, I'm going to ask you, but just quickly. Right now, these are some of the limitations that we are going to have. But meanwhile, a lot of sensitization has to be going on. Okay. Now, architect, what do you think exactly is the problem? Now, he talked about voting electronically and all that. We remember during the last, what happened during the last presidential election, whereby INEC said they don't, when it was said that INEC seems to say that they don't have a database, a website and all that, and of course some people say that, okay, they had and all that. Now, what do you think the situations are? What is the problem, as it relates to all this?
But that's where I wanted to quickly join in. First, if you look at the demography of people that actually elect our leaders, these are people that are illiterate. These are people that they don't see the basic amenities of government. They're in the forest. All they do is to chase rabbits about, and they don't even know what is social media. In the night, they on their lantern. But what I'm saying, if election is done electronically, the people that you need to convince are the people that actually know what economy is all about. They are the people that feels the inability of government to provide basic amenities. So I think we'll be going towards the right direction, canvassing for the right vote. Not just vote of people that you can buy with 1,000 naira.
Yeah, but if you say so, well, we may have a situation whereby you seclude some persons from the election.
Right now, let me tell you, most of the elite group, they don't vote. On election day, they sit down on the TV to see what is happening because they think the whole process is too messed up. That they will go there, one talk will slap them and all that. Do you get? So right now, we even the app will be so easy that even like I said earlier, over 85 million Nigeria uses phone right now. So if you have 85,000 people voting against 85 million voting against 30 million, which one is better? Obviously, it's the 85 million.
Okay.
So you know that a lot of people will be carried along if we go electronically.
Okay, now
and
Bishop,
we'll be getting vote from people that actually know what they are doing.
All right.
People that you cannot cajole, people that you cannot give 1 naira to buy their vote. Rather, you have to sell your manifesto and your ideology to actually get there.
All right, so your own suggestion is that we should vote electronically. Cases may not go to court.
At all.
All right. Now, Bishop, as we wrap up, where do we go from here?
Well, every critical stakeholders have to come to the table, do the right thing. The electorates, like I told you before, they are the custodian of power. And I've told people before that once you have your PVC, you are the custodian of power. All you just need to do is to ensure that the right people are voted into power.
Yeah,
once you cast your vote,
that 1,000 times.
yeah, no. There's something we need to. There's something we need to do. There's something we need to do.
Yeah.
We have to be very disciplined. Now, if you vote for a wrong leader and the person is in power for 4 years, and in these 4 years, the promises made to you have not been delivered, and you have been suffering, nothing is coming up. We have inflation, poverty everywhere, and you have endured all these years. The time for you to wait for is the time of election. If you did not die for these past 4 years, it's not the date of election. There is need for you to sit and say, during debate, watch. That is where people say their ideas, say their policies. During campaign, listen. Look at the charisma of people who are contesting. Not because this man is for a political party that will die with him. We don't vote out of sentiment. Vote for people who have something here, metal resources. People who have something to offer. Vote for them. You see, today we are lamentation all over the country. Why? Because the electorate has not really done what it's supposed to have done. Sit up. Look for people irrespective of their age. It's not age these days. The worth of a man is not a function of age. It's not a function of size, but a function of his metal resources. Yeah. What he can bring to the table. Bishop. So if all of us support these people, go to the field, vote for them, defend those votes, defend. 2016, during the governorship election, I was a candidate election. Do you know, in my unit, in my ward, we were waiting for a particular unit to bring their results, not knowing that the COP member that was in charge, that was supposed to bring those results to us, was taken into the bush to manipulate those results. So those youth who were desperate to ensure that they protect their vote, they have to move ahead to the village to see what's happening there.
Bishop, I understand what you are saying.
You know what I'm saying?
The electorate are not saying, the last election, we saw how the electorate even came out to defend their votes and all that.
Yeah.
But what we are looking at is a situation whereby the person the electorate voted for wins. He's announced to be the winner. But the other person that did not win goes to court. He uses technicality and is pronounced the winner. That's what we're looking at. So in this situation, what can the electorate do? That's the question.
Good. You see, in that area, the electorate will be capacitated. There's nothing they can do. You cannot question the law.
That's the question.
You can't question the law. That's why we're not saying now. That when it happens this way, I told you, I gave you some instances again. I said, 2000 when candidates went to court, there were some votes that were recounted, which did not tally with actually the vote we got during the election. Okay, I'm saying now? So when the court give their judgment in that direction, you cannot say they are wrong. But the situation where they go and bring somebody who took fourth position in the election to become a leader, which people have not really actually voted for, is a problem. Now, two things are involved.
Yeah.
If you declare somebody who did not win an election, maybe because you feel that the first, second, third are not qualified by the base of the law, that they have to become the candidate. One, you have cheated the electorate who voted. Number two, another advantage he has for the country is this. He has been able to save us from economic leakage. Taking Nigeria again, all over again, to spend the same money they spent during the election process. And start spending it again. That's the only way, that's the only advantage it has. But a situation where you are taking what the people have supported. Say, no, this is how it has to be. The deviation from what the people have voted for is where I have issues.
Okay. Now, Architect Rabo, one last question for you. the candidates are the center people we're talking about now. So how can we protect their interest in all this, finally?
Yeah, that's what I want to use this opportunity, first of all, to appeal to the president that no matter what you've done, no matter what people have criticized you about, you still have an opportunity to write your name in gold, in the sense that just kindly affirm your signature to the electoral reform. If that's the only thing you did in the next 2 years, I think Nigeria, you would have written his name in gold, and Nigeria will always live to remember him. Just reform the electoral process. Let our vote count. Let the people, let the person that you actually want, let the ballot be the deciding factor, not the court, not any other process, not money in use. This can be done through electronic voting. Just affirm electronic voting and Nigeria will be home and dry. All these things that we are talking about would have been resolved by just affirming your signature to electronic voting. Nigeria will be a new place. We will be able to choose leaders that can actually represent us. Money will never be a factor in choosing our leaders. And moreover, the whole system would have been sanitized. The issue of saying we are going to recount ballot paper would have been taken care of. You don't need to. How do you even protect it? After election, once a winner is declared in the unit, everybody is jubilating. Nobody cares about the ballot paper. So if you are saying you are recounting in the court, there is no way you will actually get the actual figures. That's the truth.
All right.
How do you even preserve them? You take it to a neck office, they are dumped there. After a while, you bring candidate to go and sort it out. Things will always go out of place. You don't need all those load. We don't need to spend all those money trying to organize election. Just go electronically and everybody will be home and dry.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for finding time to come to this program today. Now, there's no doubt that Nigeria as a nation will go forward if all of us decide to do the needful. And a very big thank you to former President Goodluck Jonathan. He has just, took the nation, by what he just said, and a lot of people reacting. Well, we are not, Edo State is not having an election soon, except for the local government election. We'll just keep our fingers crossed and see when that would be. For the general election, that's going to be sometime in 2023. So perhaps some of the issues that we have talked about here today would be one or two things that the candidates or even the politicians will abide with, so that we don't have a situation whereby at the end of the day, results are now decided in court. That's not a good development for the average electorate that took his time to register, and of course that took all the time out to go for an election. He voted for a candidate only for his hope, and of course his expectation to be dashed out on the ground of technicalities. A very big thank you one more time, gentlemen, for finding time to come on the program today. The program is still this morning on ITV with Evans Nukoge. Please stay tuned.